Hey everybody, what's going on? It's James here with Crypto Common Sense. Want to shoot a fast, hopefully 10-minute market update video on Bitcoin and possibly a couple of altcoins. But before I jump into the content, please do me a huge favor, hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And of course, don't forget to check the description for a link where you can join Patreon for just $7 a month. Patreon gives you access to more frequent updates, and obviously the more Patreon members I have, the more I want to sit down and do these types of videos. So if you like them, really take a moment, go join the Patreon. All right. So what I wanted to talk about today was Bitcoin. I want to talk about some levels. Here's what I'm seeing. I'm going to keep this really simple on Bitcoin because it is this simple. We were in an upward channel. We broke out of it. I said that it looked like wick off. Still looks like wick off, right? We're still testing the supply. So right now, I still feel like the volume is in favor of the bears. I feel like we're underneath the 200 moving average in the 4 hour, which is in favor of the bears. That 200 moving average in the 4 hour is also right around the 50 moving average in the daily. That's in favor of the bears. Ranging sideways at the top of a move tends to be distribution more often than accumulation. That's in favor of the bears. But none of that says, hey, this thing is definitely going down, right? We have to take this level out back here because when you go to a zoomed out view, this is the last low. So if we need a lower low, we need to take all this stuff out, right? So we got to go through this zone as a bear to start thinking about, okay, the bull market is over. And as a bull, the fact that it hasn't taken this out, again, doesn't really matter to me because we're still sitting below this whole zone right through here, right? If I put a volume profile in there, it's a little easier to see, right? We need to break back above this into this area and start moving up. And then I would say, hey, this is looking like the bulls have taken charge here on Bitcoin, right? We're not talking about altcoins, just talking about Bitcoin. So those are the things I'm watching for. The 4 hour chart, I think it favors the bears a little bit. But for you bulls out there, you'll like to hear this. I think the 3-day chart, which is going to close in about an hour, I think it favors the bulls. This line down here, this RSI, is broken out of the bear market box. It's sitting right on top of it. And as long as it doesn't fall apart in the next hour, it should close right on top of it. Which we saw back here, acts as support. And oftentimes, this ends up being a great place to look for long positions. When I look at the volume, yes, there's some selling volume here, but it's lower than what it has been. Selling volume is going down, right? It's not increasing. So I think that favors the bulls. I look at this candlestick. Obviously, there's a pretty good sized tail on this candlestick, which says to me that bears tried to push it down. The bulls said we're having none of it and pushed it right back up, which again is bullish in nature, right? It means the bulls are fighting that good fight, if you will. So I think the 3-day favors bulls. I also think that while we did break out of this steep upward channel that started back in January, I think we've really settled into a more subtle upward sloping channel. We can have a point here, a connection here for a nice bottom trend line, and these two connections up top for a nice top trend line. And again, right now to me, it looks like we're just sitting right in the midpoint, which favors the bulls. All right. As far as trading Bitcoin, I'm not trading Bitcoin right now because it's stuck inside of a range. I don't want to get chopped up in a range. I want to wait for this range to break. Is it going to break down and confirm a lower low, in which case obviously I would be looking for short positions, or is this going to break north and confirm a higher high, in which case I'm obviously going to be looking for long positions. It's not about bias, it's simply about the TA, period. Okay? So that's my view on Bitcoin. It's short, it's sweet, it's to the point. The one altcoin I wanted to point out today was Doge, because of course Doge is very popular right now. Doge is getting a lot of attention right now. A lot of people are making a lot of money with Doge. Smart people are, at least pocketing some of that or putting in stop losses and things like that. Newer people are probably gambling and probably in a bit of danger with this, right? So on May 8th, Elon Musk is supposed to go on Saturday Night Live. That's part of the reason this is probably pumping. Buy the rumor, sell the news type of stuff. What I've seen over and over on social media is every Tom, Dick, and Harry is planning on selling their Doge when he goes on Saturday Night Live. Well, guys, in this market, everybody knows that information, right? There's a very good chance that either A, no sell-off occurs and it just keeps going up, or B, the sell-off happens earlier than you think it's going to because people that have really large bags of this end up front running retail, right? I read an article the other day that said 20% of all Doge is owned by like one person. So if they start selling, the market's not going to be able to absorb that supply. Okay. Also, we talked about Doge in a previous video where it was putting in these beautiful ranges and then breaking north, putting in a beautiful range, breaking north, so on and so on and so on, right? We put in obviously a range back here and then broke south. Well, this range here, right, it is ranging sideways. It is putting in lower lows, and this is a pretty definitive, in my mind, a descending triangle. Now, some people may say, no, this is a symmetrical triangle. Could certainly be, right? I wouldn't argue with them. I think that's just as valid as my opinion that it's a descending triangle. All right, I'm looking more at the closest down here. But what I will say about Doge, and this is the kind of stuff that you want to watch for in a chart, right? So it broke down south of this support level back here. But look, buyers were waiting. You see how you have this big green bar right here? That means buyers were waiting to buy that up. That's actually a bullish signal. All right, that is what I'm looking for when I look at charts and things like that. That's what would make me want to go long back here, not over here. Back here, you know, with a stop down at the bottom of this tail. What would not make me want to go long there, guys, is something very simple. The risk reward, right? I'll show you how this trading stuff kind of works for me, not for everybody. But like when I look at this, I say, okay, well, there's my stop loss. Where would my profit target need to be to make that trade work? At least 2 to 1, 67 cents. Could it get there? Sure, totally could. But I also see that there's a definitive line of resistance right in the way, okay? So for me, that's not a type of trade that I want to take. The risk reward just doesn't really line up. Some people will. It's perfectly fine, right? That's just up to personal opinion. But what I would say is watch this triangle. Watch what happens if it can get back up to the top of the triangle. If it can break through that, then look out, because that suddenly becomes more of a bull pennant, right? Where you get this big move up, this drop, and then an equal move up a lot of times. So for example, this big move up, and it depends on where you draw it from, but drawing it from back here, it's about, call it 30 cents. So if it broke out over here somewhere, you know, it really does put the target up around 90 cents to $1, which would be pretty wild. But, you know, that's what the TA says. So anyway, I thought it would be interesting to take a quick look at Doge and say, look, you know, for the fact that it's a joke, for the fact that it's a meme, for all these things, that's great. But man, it's got some beautiful technical analysis. It really does. When you really start looking at it and forget all the noise and just look at the chart, it's got some really, really nice TA that you can use. All right. So we're about 12 minutes in, depending on how I edit this. That's kind of the target I want to shoot for when I do these, about 10 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up there. Please remember, guys, I am just some guy sitting in a spare bedroom, which means that nothing in this video is financial advice. You should always do your own due diligence and seek out professional financial advice from a licensed financial advisor for making any type of investment in cryptocurrency, precious metals, or the stock market. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And as always, please remember to trade safe.